Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. So let's get into to today's topic. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. I'm already kind of in vacation mode. We're about to shut down this thing in about a week or so from now, so I'm kind of already in that mode. But I said, let's just try to finish off this month strong here. So as y'all know, there's not really much to discuss this month. We've talked about different things that have made headlines, but generally August is July, August is a very quiet period in the year, right? A very quiet period. But Kobe has made a lot of headlines, and then some other things as well that LeBron James surrounding LeBron being traded and all of that. So what happened yesterday? I came across a clip from the show First Things First. No. It was The Herd. It was The Herd, and Danny Parkins, who's now going to be on First Things First, which has now been, they're now turning that show into a 3-hour show. 3-hour show. So he's going to be a part of that as they kind of figure out the new host of talent that they're going to put on TV. So he was on this segment, and essentially they invited on Chris Broussard, right? Because he's filling in for Colin Cowherd, who I believe is on vacation. So the video says Chris Broussard reacts to LeBron James to the Nuggets rumors. Jokic team up for Lakers stars. So there was some photos that went viral a few days ago of LeBron James sitting on a yacht with Maverick Carter and Nikola Jokic's manager. So people then began to speculate that, oh, what does this mean? Are they cooking up something here? Could LeBron and Nikola Jokic be teaming up and this and this? So people are kind of going at it at different angles, but I'm like, well, I don't really know what's going on there. So Chris Broussard, they asked him to weigh in on this particular picture and the story. And Chris Broussard then begins to reveal things that I had never even considered. I knew about this, but what Chris is explaining here is the manifestation of the rumors that have been taking place, which was LeBron James and Maverick Carter are looking to create a rival league that would essentially compete against the NBA. And I'm like, oh, now I get it. This makes sense now. But before we even get into what Chris Broussard had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Gametime. One of the things I love the most is making unforgettable memories with family and friends. And one of the things I hate the most is overpaying for tickets only to find out that there was a better deal out there. That's one of the reasons I started using Gametime. Gametime is the easy go-to app for last-minute tickets to sports, concert, and theater events across 60+ states in the US and Canada. Gametime saves me time, money, and stress by curating only the best deals, so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time scrolling through overpriced tickets. Gametime Picks is my favorite tool. It highlights the best value seats instantly. No more guesswork, no more wasting time. For example, I'm really looking forward to watching some of these NBA Summer League games. Here's what I like to do. I choose between the cheapest deal, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what I want to do now is I want to play exactly what Chris Broussard had to say. I want you guys to listen to his reasoning here, and I want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to his comments here.
Broussard, Brew, thank you for joining the herd. We have football this week. There's a Hall of Fame game. There's top 10 lists. There's football. But then because it's LeBron and basketball, it finds a way. It finds a way into the headlines. What do you make of Nikola Jokic's agent being on a yacht in France with LeBron and Maverick Carter saying summer of 2025, perfect time to come up with big plans for fall of 2026. Like, the picture is nothing, the caption is something. What is it to you?
Right. Well, first of all, let me say I can't wait to have you on the show in a few weeks when we expand to 3 hours on First Things First. So
thank you.
What's already great is going to be even greater when you join us, so I'm excited about that. But as far as the Jokic, LeBron, Maverick Carter photo, A lot of people are talking about LeBron joining forces with Jokic. I don't see that at all. Now, what is possible, he mentions, fall of 2026. That is when LeBron will be a free agent. If he wanted to go play with Jokic on the veterans minimum or maybe the mid-level exception, whatever they could offer him, then I guess that's possible. LeBron does like playing with high IQ players. He obviously has tons of respect for Jokic's game. So he could go have fun with that. I don't see that happening. But I think this was more about, remember, LeBron's best friend and business partner, Maverick Carter, is starting this international league that presumably is going to try to compete with the NBA. And Jokic's agent has a ton of European players, as you might imagine. So I think it was more so about how they can work together and join forces for that league and what players might be able to play for it and so on and so forth than about LeBron teaming up with Jokic. As delicious as that would be, I don't see it happening.
So they're trolling a little bit because no one, they're trolling. No one is thinking about.
And LeBron may have even given him that, so like, this is how you word it, because that's typical LeBron, putting it out there, making us wonder, and oh my gosh, could this happen? But I'd be floored if LeBron and Jokic ever played together.
So you heard what Chris Broussard had to say. The word that came to my mind after hearing that is non-compete. There's no non-compete here. Like this, you think about LeBron, who the NBA has done everything to bend over backwards for this guy. You have a team like the Lakers, the most storied franchise in the sport, alongside the Boston Celtics, basically debase themselves and turn themselves into a clown show to accommodate some of the things that this guy wants. The latest of which was drafting his son to the team, which was an absolute sham. And now you have a situation where these guys are now trying to create a rival league that's going to compete with the product, which is the NBA. And the funniest thing is, Stephen A. Smith had alluded to this a number of months ago. Stephen A. Smith spoke about this on ESPN First Take, and he essentially spoke about the possibility of the owners shutting out LeBron James for becoming an owner in the NBA. Because he said that a lot of the owners don't like him for some of the antics and moves that he pulled off, especially with this player empowerment, and they may not let him into that club. As you guys know, rumors are that LeBron wants to own that team in Las Vegas, right? He wants to own that team in Las Vegas, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny, right? It's going to cost you billions and billions and billions and billions, because the Lakers just sold for a reported $10 billion, which is obviously going to readjust all the prices of an NBA teams. The Celtics sold a portion of their team for $6 billion. So as a result, all the teams are going to become much more valuable. When Ballmer bought the team from the former owner of the Clippers, that also increased the value of some of those teams. So that's what's going to happen. So the entry point now is going to be significantly higher. So to see these guys in this picture, and now listen to Chris Broussard essentially explain the fact that Nikola Jokic's agent is plugged in with a lot of guys out there in Europe, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense to me. I'm just like, damn, this guy's actually like, LeBron gonna leave this thing in a blazing mess, man. So not only do you get everything you want out of the league, at the end of it, you're not gonna create a product that's going to compete with what the NBA has, bro. You simply cannot make this stuff up. You just can't. You just can't. I wonder what the commissioner feels about this. I seriously do. I wonder what Adam Silver and these guys feel about it. But hey, I guess we have to see. But the explanation that Chris Broussard brought forth, that makes a lot of sense. I think that makes the most sense more than anything of LeBron and these guys pairing up together. That makes a lot of sense. As you guys know, yesterday we did a show reacting to some photos of Luka Doncic that emerged of him looking very, very slim and in shape, pretty much gearing up for the NBA season. He did that photo shoot apparently with Men's Health magazine. Well, it turns out, and I used to buy Men's Health magazine, that usually when they feature a particular person on the cover, they usually feature an interview with this guy. Well, apparently Luka did sit down to have an interview with them. I didn't read the interview. I didn't read the magazine. But apparently during this interview, Luka Doncic started to credit hard work to Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, right? And during this conversation, because this is really, we're talking about what took place on a segment on FS1 featuring Chris Broussard and Danny Parkins when he was filling in for Colin Cowherd on the Colin Cowherd show. And essentially, Danny Parkins is saying, Luka Doncic refusing to acknowledge, and in his case, worship LeBron James and give praise to his new weight loss and say that, you know, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan were these hard workers and all of that. He believes it's like some type of slap in the face of LeBron, because he's like, how can you be crediting Jordan and Kobe when LeBron James is your teammate? Like, why aren't you giving LeBron James props? Why are you giving Jordan and Kobe props? To the point where Chris Broussard is like, what the hell do you want the guy to do? What do you want him to do? So for those of you who didn't hear this exchange, I want to play that for you now, and then want to come back and react to the comments. Take a listen to these guys here.
You are a journalist, so you know the difference between journalism and PR. And Luka Doncic graces us on the cover of Men's Health. And Luka Doncic looks shredded. And Luka Doncic, to me, is doing some PR to get people like, oh, yeah, he cares and he's a professional and he's working out. And I don't know if those images are doctored or whatever, but good for Luka for getting in shape. But beyond the pictures, I read the article, and there are two mentions of LeBron James, Brew, in the article, both by the writer. Like, normally athleticism is, you know, with LeBron James level biceps and things like that.
Right.
And then there is a quote from Luka Doncic after he apparently credited witnessing Dirk Nowitzki early in Luka's career, Dirk late in his career, about how he worked out. I want to put the quote up here for the FS1 audience. He said, you know, MJ and Kobe, you know, they really did a lot in their careers. They sacrificed a lot. And I'm thinking, I thought the narrative was that Luka was going to learn from LeBron how to take care of his body, but he doesn't credit LeBron in the article. What do you make of it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
And first of all, it might be PR the way Luka looks, but he had me at hello.
Oh, really?
I mean, my goodness. He looks, I'm sold. Dude looks awesome, and I think he's going to be better than ever. But to get to the LeBron, MJ, Kobe thing, we all know Luka has talked about his love for LeBron, watching him growing up and, you know, modeling some of his play after LeBron. And you're right. He said MJ and Kobe, and who can fault him for that? Two all-time greats. Obviously, Kobe, a Laker great. But and remember who he works for to some degree. He's a Jordan athlete, right?
Yeah.
He's a Jordan-bred athlete. So he mentions Jordan, his shoe company. He mentions Kobe, the legend of the team that he plays for. But I'm going to be honest, Danny. When I saw this article, saw how Luka looked, read it about, you know, how he's changed and this summer's different for him, I gave a big shout out to LeBron James. Like, this is a testament to LeBron James's example and the impact it had on Luka Doncic. Like, he's been in the league 6-7 years. And I know we've always seen pictures of slim Luka in the summers, but this is clearly different, and he said as much that this is different this summer. I think he played with LeBron and saw why, as much physical ability as LeBron has, as much natural ability, as much size and strength and athleticism as LeBron has naturally, he goes above and beyond to become the player he is. Like, he's not just playing off his natural ability and giving you the basic, doing the basic workout that all the other NBA players do. We know he goes above and beyond, and I think that really clicked with Luka. And I think he said, you know what? If I want to be as good as him, then I need to do something different. And he's going through two-a-days right now, according to that article. So,
but he didn't shout out LeBron.
I shout out LeBron.
You shout out LeBron. Why did Luka shout out LeBron?
Excellent. So you heard what they had to say. First of all, it is widely reported that Kobe Bryant was the hardest working basketball player to ever live. Right? Nobody worked as hard as him. So Luka mentioning Kobe, I don't see how that's controversial. Why should he mention LeBron James? He's mentioning Kobe Bryant. Just today, before we did a live, a picture popped up of Kobe. There was a picture of him when he was alive, when he was like at the beach or something, I don't know. and there was a photo of him showing his body, and he was a little bit out of shape in his standard, NBA standard players standard, out of shape. And they were calling it like the Kobe dad bod. So Kobe kind of made a joke, and he's like, give me 1 month. And then Mamba blackout, and then he showed another picture of him like sitting in a weight training room, like, like looking more cut, and he goes, workout done at 6 a.m. Right? So Kobe is the hardest working NBA player ever. Just listen to all of the lore surrounding him. So Luka drawing inspiration from Kobe would make a lot of sense. But why do you want him to include LeBron? Like, these guys want to give LeBron James everything. And I knew that that's what they were going to do. They were going to try to find a way to say, oh, because Luka is playing with LeBron, therefore it's now causing him to lose weight. Bro, do you realize, if you follow news, LeBron James has been traveling all over the world this summer? Do you know that? You can spot him out there in Monaco. You can spot him out there in, for sure, in Europe and other places. And all of these places, Luka was not present with LeBron James. Luka is the one putting in the work. The only place I saw Luka this summer was in Greece for that Jordan event that he had. He invited other players out there like Bam Adebayo, Carmelo Anthony, and some other guys. So it's not like as if Luka and LeBron are traveling everywhere like you would see LeBron and Draymond Green. Luka's doing his own thing. And Luka is working out for himself. He's at the gym. Did you see LeBron anywhere in the gym with him? It's one thing if you see footage or you hear stories of him and LeBron training. That happens. I would just listen to a story from Corey Maggette talking about when him and Kobe Bryant went to a morning workout. Right? Like, that happens, but that's not what's happening here. Luka is the one taking his diet and nutrition to the next level. So for you to now say, oh, he has to give that credit to LeBron, what if he didn't get nothing from him? What if he drew a lot of inspiration from Kobe Bryant? Maybe just being in LA in the spirit of being a Laker and being in that environment and talking to people and understand, hey, what Kobe doing? And then that's what, who knows? Like, so for him to give credit to Jordan and Kobe makes a lot of sense because these guys inspire a lot of people. Look at the current crop of NBA players. Whose shoes do they wear? I think Kobe Bryant has the most worn shoe in the NBA right now. Luka's a huge fan of Kobe. I'm confused. Yes, he loves LeBron and all of that stuff, but come on, Kobe Bryant is Kobe Bryant. But why do y'all want him like, it must always be that. And that's what they were trying to do last year. All of a sudden, Luka was this great player. As soon as he became a LeBron, all of a sudden now he's this charity case. Oh, Luka didn't do this. Luka. This is the problem when you become this guy's teammate. Every negative, it's like LeBron's teammates don't get uplifted. They all get dragged down. And he's the only one that gets levitated. But look at the cases of Kobe Bryant and these other guys. They uplift their teammates. Jordan made Pippen better. Kobe made Powell better. And in the case of LeBron, they always get dragged into the dirt. Or they weren't good enough and this and this. And now it's Luka. Same thing happened with Luka. Luka got criticized more in that 6-month period for being a Laker than he had ever been in his entire career. And then now the guy gets in shape, and now you want to give credit to. Did you see LeBron in any of those pictures? Did you hear him say me and LeBron were doing 2-a-days this summer? No, LeBron is living his life and enjoying his summer as he should with his family. Luka's the one figuring this stuff out for himself. So why do y'all want him to give him this credit that he don't deserve? Are you joking with me? Like, come on, knock it off, man. But this is what they do. This is a topic that I didn't even know existed. So I tuned into a clip from Man Down Sports. Shout out to them. And they were essentially reacting to some comments that LeBron James made somewhere. But I believe it was connected to his podcast, Mind the Game. And essentially, as they were talking, LeBron was speaking to the audience. And then he went off kind of like on this tangent and started talking about like super teams. And then in the midst of his rant, he then talks about, oh, and Michael Jordan, also the Chicago Bulls were a super team. And I'm like, yo, bro, what are we doing? Like, when will the antics end finally once and for all, bro? When are we gonna roll the curtains on this nonsense? So what we want to do now is we're gonna play exactly what LeBron had to say about Jordan having a super team, and I'm gonna come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
This guy, I feel like he's grown another 2 or 3 inches for sure in the offseason. But I mean, the game is gonna continue to evolve. You know, like you said, the Big Three era had its moment. The Big Three era has always had its moment. You know, way before myself, D-Wade, and Bosh came together. You know, you had, Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. They played together. You know, you had so many guys that's the Big Three era. So
Bird, Parrish, McHale.
McHale, exactly. Jordan, Pippen, Rodman. You know, so like the victory era will always kind of be there, but having depth, having been able to have the ability to bring in multiple guys that can do multiple things, I think that's the area that we may fall into. But whatever era or however the game shakes itself, just know, guys, that we listening to y'all and we're gonna put the best product on the floor every single night because we hear y'all talking and we know y'all love our game. So I appreciate it. I really thank you for real.
Okay, good. So you heard what LeBron James had to say. So let me just pull this up real quick. Chicago Bulls 1998 roster. Okay, let's look at some of these teams. 1997, 1998 roster. So on this team, on that roster, you had Keith Booth, Randy Brown, Jude Bouclair, Scott Burrell, Jason Caffey, Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr, Joe Klein, Tony Kukoc, Rusty LaRue, Luke Longley, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Bill Wennington. That was the team, right? Let's look at the season prior to that. Let's look at the roster he had there, just to kind of give you guys a macro view on this thing. The following season, he had Randy Brown, Jude, Jason Caffey, Bison Dell, Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley, Robert Parrish, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Dickie Simpkins, and Bill Wellington. This was a super team. This was a super team. Michael Jordan on the 1998 Bulls was 35 years old. Scottie must have been 31 or something. Rodman was 37. And they had Tony Kukoc. When we think of super teams, we're talking about the 07-08 Celtics. We're talking about the Miami Heat, those guys. We're talking about the Golden State Warriors. Players in the heart of their primes competing. Even the Celtics were at the tail end of their primes. The Miami Heat. Let me distill this for you guys. Miami Heat roster 2011. The 2011 Miami Heat roster consisted of Joel Anthony, Carlos Arroyo, Mike Bibby, Chris Bosh, Mario Chalmers, Eric Dampier, Udonis Haslem, Eddie Jones, Juan Howard, Zrunas Ilgauskas. I didn't even know he was on the team. LeBron James, James Jones, Jamal McGlure, Mike Miller, Jerry Stackhouse, Dwayne Wade. That was the 2010-2011 team. 2011-2012 team had Joel Anthony, Shane Battier, Chris Bosh, Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole, Eddie Curry, Terrell Harris, Udonis Haslem, Juwan Howard, LeBron James, James Jones, Mike Miller, Dwayne Wade, and one of them had Ray Allen. I'm trying to figure out which year. I think it should have been the one prior to that. I don't know why they didn't show his name up there, but Ray Allen was on one of these teams as well. That was a super team, primarily because of their ages. All of those guys were in their 20s. The Chicago Bulls guys were in their 30s, late 30s, mid-late 30s. But LeBron is saying this again for a narrative's sake. He's saying it because he knows that one of the things that people hold against him is that he has been on so many super teams. So therefore, if he says, well, look, hey, man, I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one. So, I mean, come on, you can't hold against me. Here's where this thing falls apart. Fine. Let's concede that Jordan's team was a super team. And let's also concede that your teams were super teams. Why did you lose championships and Jordan won them? Let's assume you're correct here. Let's say the Bulls were a super team, and let's say your team was a super team. Why were they winning championships and your team was not? Do you know what's going to happen? They're going to shift to the next thing. They're just going to move the goalposts a little further. So even if we accept that fine, the Chicago Bulls, the 96, 97, 98 Bulls were a super team. And the Miami Heat team were super teams. Why didn't you win a championship every year? Why? You were a super team. You would consider yourself the best player in the world. So why didn't you win? The fundamental reason is this. The reason the Bulls won is because they had Michael Jordan. The reason the Miami Heat lost is because they didn't have Michael Jordan. If LeBron was as good as advertised, they should have won all those championships, but they didn't. You guys, some of y'all calling him the GOAT. Some of y'all are saying that he was one vote away from being considered the GOAT. So why didn't they win? Oh, well, because this happened and because that happened and because this happened and because that happened. LeBron was winning but the bare skin of his teeth. So it's just another ridiculous, shameful attempt, but these guys just won't stop. I mean, they just won't stop with the twerking. All they do is sit up there and twerk it up all over the place, knock over people's cups, hollering, screaming, sparks of honey flying everywhere as they're trying to pour down each other's backs, lights flickering, just all type of insane madness and twercation, hollering, moving, vibrating. It's just unbelievable. This is just another pathetic attempt. And some people gonna be like, yeah, man, well, yeah, man, it make kind of sense to me, make good sense to me. Unreal.